Coming up on the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast, Elkhart is riding a wave of economic momentum. A remote work platform lands new funding. We take you inside the new Hotel Indy. We preview the Indiana Conference for Women. Cook Medical is bringing new life to a neighborhood in need. Vincennes shows off a cutting-edge learning lab. An Indiana sports leader wants you to make your own luck. And indie musicians get their own co-working space. Welcome to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. I'm Andy Ober. Elkhart is known as the RV capital of the world. The northern Indiana city is reaping the benefits of a big rebound in RV sales, a huge hotel renovation, and a major revitalization effort underway in the River District. Economic Development Corporation of Elkhart County CEO Chris Stager joined Inside Indiana Business host Gary Dick with Insight.
Hey, Chris, I mentioned off the top, let's go rewind back to 2009. President Obama there was a lot of national attention on Elkhart County, unfortunately, because of the unemployment rate. Take us back to 2009 and what the vibe was like, if you will, in Elkhart County.
Well, obviously, we topped out almost at 20% in unemployment. It was very challenging. We have a lot of manufacturing, generally speaking, declined a lot during the recession. Our manufacturing is largely in the mobility sector and the RV space. So we felt a lot of pressure as an organizationally and as a community as we come out of the recession to make sure that we're committing to the community, that we try to make that a better scenario next time around.
Yeah, and certainly things have changed in a big way. The RV sector is very cyclical, of course. So many things have happened. In fact, recently, christening the Hotel Elkhart, a boutique hotel that really, I think, is representative in so many ways of a transformation going on in downtown Elkhart and along the riverfront as well.
Yeah, our River District, we recently, last year, opened a new aquatic center. It was over $60 million aquatic center. It's really been a pinnacle of outstanding public-private partnership that was put together over the last couple of years. You mentioned the downtown Elkhart Hotel. We're also improving the waterways in downtown so they're more navigable. And we have a significant amount of multifamily housing going up there as well. So we're trying to make it a more walkable community in downtown Elkhart.
Yeah, I should mention, too, a big announcement just a few weeks ago. Amazon, about a $200 million investment in a major new distribution center and last mile facility. That, again, it goes to the diversification of the economy continuing to take place there.
Yeah, we're happy to have a project of this scope come into our region. We recognized that it was going to be in the region regardless. So we wanted to make sure that we supported it and be consistent with our growth to try to grow automation and more sophisticated use of technology in all of our businesses here.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, Chris, because automation, Elkhart County, that area, one of the most at risk for loss of jobs because of automation. You're trying to take that head on. I know it's a big investment by the Lilly Endowment. Notre Dame's involved in getting some workers trained for that future workforce.
Yeah, we actually had the highest per capita robots in the United States in the 2017 survey, but the same survey indicated that we were at risk due to automation. So we, along with our regional partnership, the South Bend Elkhart Regional Partnership, we've been working with an entity we put together called the Labs for Industry Transformation. That's allowing us to go out and work with industries to figure out where they're at on their digital journey and make sure that we're supporting them as they try to implement automation in their facilities.
Yeah, and I know as you talk about the Amazons and the workforce issues you're dealing with as well, back to that downtown revitalization, the quality of place improvements, key to kind of that bigger picture of attracting and keeping talent in the region?
Yeah, we were one of the initial recipients of the regional city's money. We received a little over $41 million. Just in downtown Elkhart alone, we believe that aquatic center project has leveraged about $200 million of private sector investment into downtown.
Well, we'll have about 30 seconds left, Chris, but I know we were talking on the phone earlier today. You mentioned if people want to get a feel for how Elkhart really is now, if they haven't been up there for 5 or 10 years, you say they just ought to take a drive through town.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place. We've really, the downtown and the community is really much more vibrant. We've had some initiatives going on locally for the last 3 years called Vibrant Communities. So we're trying to get everybody involved in making it a better place to live. We've had, as I mentioned, the river is improved. We're also working on hiking and biking trails. There's a lot of nice amenities here in Elkhart County we'd love to show off.
All right, show off indeed. A lot of momentum in Elkhart. Chris Stager, the CEO of the Economic Development Corporation of Elkhart County. Chris, thanks as always. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Indianapolis-based Philo says its virtual collaboration platform can power the future of hybrid and remote work. The company has secured $3 million in seed funding. Co-founder and CEO Matt Compton came on the show to talk about the impact that funding will have.
What does that represent? I mean, $3 million, obviously you'll be able to put that to good use, but it also, in a sense, probably represents some validation for what Philo is all about.
That's absolutely right. I mean, it provides validation in the problems we've been solving for our customers every single day, allows us to expand our partnerships, bringing flyover capital on in combination with our great partnership with High Alpha has been incredible and is going to allow us to invest in expanding the product as well as awareness.
Yeah, Matt, talk about how Philo was formed. You just launched the product really at the end of last year. You're really a byproduct in a sense of the pandemic. You're kind of the idea, the business model spawned out of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we started working on the original prototype in April of last year. We officially formed the company in July and launched in December. And you look at this entire roller coaster that we've all been on going back to March of last year, teams and organizations are more distributed than ever. In many cases, remote and virtual work has been a huge success. Organizations say so. So 80% of employers say remote and virtual work has been a success, mainly because of increased productivity. It's been a huge success from employees as well. So over 70% of employees say it's been a success, mainly because of the flexibility it provides them where to live and how they spend their time. But there are also some downfalls associated with it. Primarily collaboration and creativity, as well as connection. So connection between employees and their companies, connection with their culture, connection with teams, across departments, and across organizations. And that's really what we're set out to solve.
Yeah, talk about what Philo was all about, Matt, because basically everybody's doing remote, Zoom, all kinds of virtual connections. But what you provide is basically everything from service to a small staff meeting to really big events and really making that a collaborative experience.
Exactly. So Philo powers virtual campuses for collaborative internal events. So we work with some of the largest organizations in the world, as well as very small organizations. We create environments, we call them campuses, for large events. Those can be large company kickoffs, product launches, all hands meetings that range in thousands of people, where what we do is we take what is normally in the virtual world a sit and watch experience, and we provide an environment for people to not only watch, but to connect and consume and to collaborate with one another, all the way to very small intimate groups like onboarding cohorts, trainings, workshops, and specialized things like hackathons and demo days. Pretty much any way that we in these environments, we allow people to really connect with one another and solve complex problems.
Yeah, what's next, Matt? I think it's clear remote work is here to stay in some form. What does that mean for Philo? There's going to be competition, I assume, come into the space as well. How do you look at growth opportunities going forward?
Yeah, there's been a lot of innovation that has come out the last year and a half, a lot of brand new products. We would argue not all of them have been good. Some of them could kick the can down the road, but there's also been some amazing stuff. The good thing is 72% of organizations, they recognize that they're not going back to what it was before, and 72% of organizations are increasing their investment in virtual collaboration over the next 6 to 12 months. Yep. And we look to be ones where there's a lot of focused on external events. We're solely focused on organizations, and we think we can be a big part of it.
Matt Compton, the co-founder and CEO at Philo. Matt, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the funding. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much.
All right.
When you walk into downtown Indianapolis's newest hotel, you'll be surrounded by all things Hoosier. Around Indiana, reporter Mary Rachel Redmond takes us inside Hotel Indy, where some of the city's most iconic figures are celebrated.
That sweet-sounding word Indy incorporated into the marquee. That will help attract visitors who are anxious to see what is Hotel Indy all about.
Now it's open for you to come check it out for yourself. Officials cut the ribbon this week on the $30 million 90-room boutique hotel in the heart of downtown's re-emerging wholesale district.
We have built a hotel that is a truly authentic Indianapolis experience. Every touch point within the hotel pays homage to an Indianapolis icon, Major Taylor, Steve McQueen.
This will be the vestibule that you walk in off Virginia Street.
Okay. Hotel Indy's Tina Crawford took us on a hard hat tour of the space back in early July.
Lobby, check-in right here.
And just a little over 3 months later, its transformation today is nothing short of magical.
Tina, I'm speechless. This doesn't even look like the same building.
Don't believe me? Check out this footage from just a few months ago.
So this is the bar.
This is where the bar will be.
So where are we right now?
We're in the Cannonball Lounge.
So to the left, nice fully stocked bar.
Yes, yes.
This is what I was so excited about back in July.
Last time the floor wasn't in.
Yeah.
The furniture for sure wasn't here.
It's fabulous.
Just look at this before and after.
You've got the lights up top.
We've got our gas burning fireplace that we do at night.
And then looking straight ahead, the disco ball. Is this like a dance?
Keeping with our mid-century modern theme, the 1970s, we have the disco ball.
The interior of Hotel Indy.
Soft and the rounded. Right there is my spot. I come up here and make calls.
I could fall asleep. I'm serious. That is soft.
The 6th floor also features 12 guest rooms. Heading back down to the main floor, a quick look at the before.
Keyhole.
The keyhole.
After.
Up above, this oversized globe fixture, the centerpiece for the Holman, Hotel Indy's nearly 200-seat first-floor restaurant.
The Holman restaurant is just an unbelievable experience. We have Chef Patrick Russ leading the charge there. Modern American cuisine. And what he's done is used seasonal ingredients to tell a story. So you just don't have a meal here, you have a dining experience.
And word of Hotel Indy opening has already reached the masses.
We are actually already sold out for the December and January football dates. So our phone has been ringing off the hook. As soon as people heard about us, the word got out quickly.
And speaking of speed,
and remember that elevator we talked about that goes straight up to the rooftop bar? Here it is, the Cannonball Express. Going up. What are you most proud of?
You're trying to get me to cry.
I mean, it is unbelievable.
I think it's important to say that we've made our way towards the end of COVID, that we are showing progress, that we are growing the wholesale district downtown, and that we are the start of many great things to come.
Mary Rachel Redmond, Inside Indiana Business.
Martha Stewart, Rachel Ray, Kathy Ireland. They've all been part of the Indiana Conference for Women. Executive Director Chelsea Anderson joined us with details on this year's event and why it's such an important resource for Hoosier women in the workforce.
What is it about this event? Why has it been so successful? Again, as I mentioned, this is the 10th year. I've been fortunate to be there every year and have watched it grow just exponentially every year. It's a one-day event that is packed with information, packed with people from all over the state and beyond. In your view, what is this conference all about and what makes it a success?
What's so exciting is putting so many different people, and we do have women, men, and everyone else who is welcome to attend this event. They get in the room together and there's an energy, there's an electricity to that coming together and really sharing of ideas, sharing networks, and putting each other in different spaces where we can grow and thrive and learn from one another. I think you don't necessarily get that with all the other conferences that folks have an opportunity to go to. This one is really about making those connections and finding some new inspiration for your life.
Yeah, and really, as I mentioned, very much a statewide event and beyond. And also women of all ages, young women. I know that's been a focus area too, to bring them in and connect them in the process.
It very much is. And this is something that really works for women and men and whomever else who are in that early stage of their career development or mid-level in their career. Perhaps they're looking to move into a new field, something like that. This is the perfect opportunity for them because you really walk out of the conference with tangible resources and skills that you can put into practice right away. And we're not asking you to buy a book or buy anything else. It's ready and waiting for you. So a lot of folks from younger ages, we have some folks who are in school still who are coming in. We have other folks who are in their 20s and early 30s who are really starting to make waves in their industry. And those folks are really learning from the people who have come before them and those mentors that are in the room as well. So I will say the fun fact here is about 85% of our attendees are between ages 26 and 55.
Wow.
So we really hit that nice target market right there.
That's interesting, and I really think it is too a reflection. You know, the event, the keynote speakers and the high-profile people there as well, a reflection on Indianapolis and on Indiana in a positive light as people look at a place to maybe come live, work, and play, come to relocate. They look at a conference like this as maybe being a positive.
Oh, I think so. And this is something that, we are a premier organization. We do bring in the best talent that we can find. And we think they really speak to what's going on in our community right now. For example, we have a modern mental health panel that we have coming in. We're really excited to have this discussion because right now, so many folks are dealing with that mental health issue after the pandemic and all the economic woes that we're looking through right now. So we're trying really hard to respond to what's happening in our community. And folks who are coming here and saying, you know what, Indy's pretty cool. I kind of want to be a part of that. We can help make that a better place for them.
Okay, I know you can't get to everything, but give us some of the highlights. You got a packed event this year. What can folks expect?
So many great things. We have 3 top keynote speakers. I'm really looking forward to our opening keynote speaker, Jamila Jamil. She has a wonderful podcast, if anyone's familiar with that. It's called I Weigh with Jamila Jamil. Really interesting stuff. And our breakout speakers, we have 4 different speakers coming in. The one I'm looking forward to the most is Tara Schuster, who is the VP of Talent and Development for Comedy Central. And I'm really interested in what she has to say about building your career at a young age.
Very good. All started with Billy Dragoo and Deborah Collins-Stevens, so many more people involved. Chelsea Anderson, thanks so much for joining us. Look forward to the event.
Thank you, Gary. We look forward to seeing you there.
All right.
Remember, you can catch Inside Indiana Business Television on stations throughout the state every weekend. Head to InsideIndianaBusiness.com to check listings. Bloomington-based Cook Medical is bringing a manufacturing facility to an Indy neighborhood with some of the state's highest poverty levels. The medical device giant is also bringing a new grocery store to the area. President Pete Yonkman spoke with Kylie Valletta in the Business of Health.
Well, we'll get to the grocery store in just a minute, but first, let's start with the manufacturing facility. Why did Cook choose that neighborhood in particular to build your newest manufacturing facility?
That's a great question. We had an opportunity to expand our manufacturing, and we thought, we could put that in our current location where we have a lot of opportunity already. We could outsource it somewhere. Or we could go to a community where that community had seen opportunity leave over the last 30, 40, 50 years. And particularly manufacturing jobs have left, as we know. So we met with a lot of communities in Indiana, particularly in Indianapolis. We wanted to focus on communities that had seen opportunity before, where it's been left. And we met a community there. We met a woman named Ashley Gervitz, who runs a CDC, a Community Development Corporation. And she took a very different approach. What she said was, I want you to come meet our people. She didn't talk about incentives. She didn't talk about money. She said, come meet our people. And we did. And we fell in love with them. They're the perfect neighbors for us. And so we thought it was the right area to be.
And I love that this grocery store, you've said before, this was not Cook's idea. So explain how the idea for the grocery store came about.
Yeah, you don't usually see medical device companies and grocery stores in the same business plan. But as we were there, we were planning the manufacturing site. We talked to so many of the community members. They were so supportive. And just in conversation, it started coming up of, we don't have a place to go. We don't have a grocery store here. We have 100,000 people without a grocery store. And, those are our teammates. Those are our employees. And so we thought, we have this great coalition already with Goodwill. with CICF. We met these two amazing entrepreneurs who lived in the community, who wanted to build a grocery store. So it just came together, and we thought, we can help here. We can't make it ourselves, right? We're not grocery store operators, but we have these two entrepreneurs who are really passionate about it, and it just made sense.
So let's talk a little bit about the ownership. Cook will own it to begin with, and then explain how that's gradually going to be passed to two entrepreneurs in the neighborhood, Michael McFarland and Marcus Williams.
That was really important to us. We said we want to help, but we want to help build business and build generational wealth, right? We want to do something that's going to help expand this community and lift up the community that's already there. And so it really worked because these two entrepreneurs were already trying to build a business, and we could help them scale. And so what we did was, we'll build the building and donate the land. CICF came in and invested on their behalf in terms of some inventory and some equipment. And really what they'll do is they'll buy this land, the business, and the building over time as they operate the business. So it was really important that ultimately that transferred to the community itself.
That's such a great philosophy. So gentrification is a hot button issue. Explain why that's not what Cook is trying to do here.
Of course, we hear about that all the time. The best way I heard it described from one of our neighbors up there was, so often what happens is somebody from the outside comes in with a big project and they drop this giant UFO in our backyard and they say, be happy about it. That's not what we want to do. We want to be partners. We want to add our resources to their voices. And what we're doing is asking, every time we make a decision, is this lifting up the existing community? Does this add to the upward mobility of people who are already there? So often the outcomes and the metrics of community development are based on things that aren't focused on the existing community. They're based on creating wealth or creating a higher tax base, but that misses the existing community. So we want to make sure everything we do helps lift up the people who live here now.
And obviously this grocery store is going to provide healthy food. Explain how it's also going to provide jobs and education too.
Yep. So we partnered with Martin University, a great university here in Indianapolis, and they're creating a curriculum to help other people learn how to own and operate grocery stores. People will be able to work in the existing grocery store, get on-site learning, as well as the curriculum learning from Martin University. So the idea here is that while we're creating jobs for this existing grocery store, probably up to 25, our hope is that we can go to other neighborhoods as well, have other partners come along with us and build grocery stores, and we'll have an education system to support them as they do that.
And we've talked about this project in the past with you, and you mentioned before that it's changed your perspective about how companies should engage with local communities. Can you talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah, the most important thing that I've learned is that so many of these challenges that we talk about, whether it's income disparity or racial disparity or inequity, they're really issues that take place in the neighborhoods. They take place in our communities. You can't sit in an office somewhere. You can't sit back and try to solve this in a meeting room or a boardroom. You have to go out and meet people. There are some incredible people doing work out there right now that are lifting up their communities, that they just need a few resources. And we have tremendous capabilities. If we add those two things together, it's where the magic happens. And so it's really getting out into the communities, meeting people, and understanding what their needs are.
All right, a collaboration is key here. Pete, thank you so much for being on the show today and telling us about it. Good luck with the project. We'll be following it.
Vincennes University is looking to play a leading role in building a pipeline of advanced automation workers in Du Bois County. The school has opened a new cutting-edge cobot learning lab. Vincennes President Chuck Johnson talked about what it all means in our Eye on Education segment.
Okay, cobots, collaborative robots, these are becoming the rage. Give us a definition and really what these cobots are all about.
Well, cobots or collaborative robots are really designed not to replace human work, but to enhance it, to work alongside humans, maybe do some of the repetitive type tasks or the tasks that maybe are not so skill enhanced that they need to be able to be done by a human. So that frees humans up to do the things that are more analytical, review, some of the quality control types of things, as well as do troubleshooting and things like that. So they're really an extension of a human worker more so than a replacement.
Yeah, and they're here now. This isn't something of the future. They're here now. And Vincennes obviously making a big investment, a big play in this area around the state, including most recently in Jasper, at your Jasper campus with the help of Lilly Endowment, a grant there. Talk about the investment in Jasper and what that is going to mean.
So we've set up a collaborative robot lab on top of our other automation labs there in the Center for Technology Innovation and Manufacturing. a very big part of our partnership in Jasper is working with manufacturing employers. We work with them on a lot of things with regard to automation and industrial maintenance programming. We do work-based learning programs. And so this is a build out of that technology that we offer there. It's an opportunity to give our students and our employers a chance to try these new technologies, to explore how they may be able to deploy them into their plants and facilities. It also extends into our partnerships with K-12. In Jasper, we have a great partnership with Patoka Valley Career Cooperative and the 12 Du Bois County schools, where students come to campus for an automation and robotics academy. They're learning about manufacturing. They're learning about the application of these kinds of technologies. This will enrich that experience for them, as they're also doing internships and working with employers, and that sets them up to be in line to either go into engineering or IT or other fields. But also it fits neatly with our career advancement partnership, which is a manufacturing maintenance partnership with employers that leads to great career opportunities with work-based learning.
Yeah, there's a lot of concern in certain areas. Elkhart was identified as one of the most at-risk regions for job loss due to automation. It would seem these cobots and getting this kind of training and a workforce pipeline in this area would kind of nullify that, at least partially.
I think it will. I think it will just enhance the productivity of workers in logistics and manufacturing, and as you mentioned, in many other areas. So the great thing about cobots is they come in all different stripes and sorts, and they can be adaptive. You can move them around to have an application on this line. You can move them over here and set them up to work in a different way. And what employers that have invested in them, Cummins being a great example, have found tremendous productivity growth with the existing employee base with these collaborative robots.
Yeah, no. We're talking about Jasper, but you've made this investment at your location in Lebanon, certainly there in Vincennes, and really are looking at this on a statewide basis.
It is. It's a big part of our growth strategy in terms of reaching into these new employer areas, as well as working with existing employer partners. So when it's all said and done, we'll have 3 of these larger labs, these more core labs. Vincennes will be the heart of that. We'll have a Center for Applied Robotics and Automation set up in Vincennes, but we'll be doing industry training and other programming at our Lebanon Center, at the Gene Center there in Lebanon off I-65, and then the Jasper, which is, again, a very important community for us, important partner here in southern Indiana, will be another one. And then eventually we will take about a dozen or so of these, and we will place them into our career center partners at some of our early college sites around the state. And so we expect this will be the first wave. We're going to have about 38 deployed when it's all said and done, when the dust settles. And then we expect that this will be technology that will continue to grow and replenish and build out with new applications.
Vincennes University continuing to innovate, certainly in the technology, the workplace space as well. Vincennes University President Chuck Johnson, as always. Chuck, it's great to see you, and we look forward to following this story.
Thank you, Gary.
Fred Glass's career has included politics, leading the effort to build Lucas Oil Stadium, and serving as Director of Athletics at Indiana University. Now he can add author to his resume. He joined Bill Benner on Inside Indiana Sports.
Let's talk about your overall motivation about chronicling your career and some of the lessons that you hope people will take from that.
A couple Father's Days ago, my oldest child, my daughter, gave me a gift called Storyworth, where you get a subscription every week. The company asks you a question and you answer about your life, and it goes on for 52 weeks. And I did that, and it proved to be a really kind of an emotional piece. My daughter bound the books, gave them to her siblings. One of my sons said he cried when he read it. It started to make me think I had some things to talk about, and that was really the genesis of the whole project.
And talk about lessons, Fred. And again, I've watched several of your videos, and you always seem to have a really valuable perspective to offer from your life experiences.
Well, you know how it is, Bill, as a writer, I just started writing to preserve the family stories and kind of tell my story. I'm an only child. My parents are gone. I wanted the stories to survive me. And then as I was doing it, I started to see some themes come up. They revealed themselves to me, these moments in time where I realized, opportunities don't come at convenient times, or pick the opportunity that presents more opportunities downstream. And I thought, if I could write those down, I could save somebody the hard knocks of figuring it out during the course of their life. So I've written down 10 of those, show how they play themselves out in my life. And I hope it's a story of empowerment that, you can do it. I'm just a goof that kind of stumbled into these different opportunities. And, if I can do it, other people can do it. And I hope they take away, why don't I go for it and try to do some fun stuff.
You grew up in Indianapolis. You mentioned Skid Row Bar in the subtitle. What's that all about?
Yeah, so my dad owned a bar on Skid Row at the corner of East and Washington Street, and I basically grew up in the back of it. He bought it when I was about 5 years old, and I lived down there basically in the back room, while he was tending bar and doing his thing until, my mid to high teens. And I hated it, when I was doing it. It was different than what my friends were doing, and it took away my evenings and my weekends. But man, I learned so much there, so much about people a lot of us never have the chance to encounter. And so I really think nothing impacted me more, ultimately positively than seeing life from the back of a Skid Row tavern.
Fred, you ended up, you were an IU fan growing up. You ended up, after a successful law career, and we'll touch upon that in just a second, but you ended up as the director of athletics at your alma mater. That had to be both a tremendous opportunity, responsibility, but a thrill.
Yeah, Bill, it's a thrill. I loved every day of it. And it came out of left field, when Greenspan retired or resigned or whatever, I didn't think really twice about it, and then got connection with the search committee and thought it was the craziest thing I ever heard, and then I thought it would be maybe the coolest thing I ever heard. So I decided to try it, and I loved it. Again, it's my alma mater, Bloomington. Most beautiful campus, kids, sports. What's not to like, and it was a great experience for me, and I'll always treasure it.
Fred, you worked for Evan Bayh, you worked for Bart Peterson, and importantly, you were the CIB president when Lucas Oil Stadium needed to be brought into reality. And again, as you look back, it ended up, we had a Super Bowl because of that, kept the Colts in town, so that has to be a tremendous career accomplishment as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking that shovel back there is a ceremonial shovel from the groundbreaking for what became Lucas Oil Stadium. And, you remember, Bill, but a lot of our listeners and viewers wouldn't. When Bart was elected mayor, we were under a contract where we basically had to write the Colts checks to stay at the meeting of the league, and not get anything for it, other than maybe to keep them here for a couple of years before they would essentially become a free agent. And so as a small market, we figured the only way to generate the kind of money that we need to generate to keep the Colts was to build a new stadium. And we were kind of in a role reversal, because people think of teams demanding stadiums. We are actually a community demanding a stadium, because we needed that as the economic powerhouse for that. And it became our new town square, and it's an awesome amenity. It was combined with the expansion of the Indiana Convention Center. And I must admit, I'm really proud to have been a part of making that a reality.
Quickly, as we wrap up, the book is out this week, and where can people get it?
Pretty much anywhere. We're really trying to be in local independent bookstores. It's at Barnes & Noble. It's on Amazon. It's on IU Press's website. When you write a book, Bill, they tell you have to have a website. So I have a website, fred-glass.com. That's fred-glass.com. And there's ways to order the book there from your favorite local bookstore.
Well, Fred Glass, thanks for making your own luck, and we look forward to reading your life lessons in those pages. Thanks for being on the show with us.
Thanks, Bill. Really appreciate it.
And finally this week, the Indianapolis Music Cooperative is creating a co-working space for musicians, as well as a new all-age performance venue. Some big names are helping to make it all happen. Founder Kai McGinnis joined us with more.
Talk about this idea. It's a very interesting idea, and it's kind of along the same lines as a tech co-working space, but for musicians. What's it all about?
Hey, exactly that. We noticed that artists around town, all of us on the team, artists ourselves, we're struggling to find a centralized community space and access to these resources of rehearsal and recording. And so by sharing the space together, it's an opportunity to share the cost on a different revenue model.
How did it come about? What was the conversation like? What prompted the idea to pursue this?
Certainly. The initial idea came from my co-founder and I experiencing very similar problems of writing music throughout university and upon exiting, wanting to record said music, that being very cost prohibitive and not in our budgets, and then not being able to find rehearsal space to even practice those. And basically sparked the hypothesis that we couldn't be the only artists experiencing this problem. And so we set out around town, asked the different demographics and neighborhoods and genres of artists. And that was how we landed on the three main tenets of our membership. So connect, rehearse, and record, and a 24/7 space to do all that.
Circle City Industrial Complex is where you're at, where you want to be. You're in a proof of concept stage right now, a beta stage of the whole idea. Talk about what you want to create, what we'll see there at the Circle City Industrial Complex once things are rolling.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned today, right now we have, the proof of concept space known as Soundspace Beta with one rehearsal room and one recording studio. That's 24/7 access. We are building out the cooperative to be the full-scale version of that with about a dozen rooms of rehearsal and recording facility. And as you mentioned earlier, that'll sit next to a 750 cap all ages venue. So the goal for that is for that space to also spawn an endowment in a 3 to 5 year timeline, that instead of those profits being paid out to shareholders, right, we're instead able to take that nonprofit space and redistribute those funds back to artists themselves.
Yeah, and I think what you're doing is a byproduct of the vibrant, I think, music scene that exists in Indianapolis. Talk about the demand, the reaction that you're getting from artists, from musicians, really of ages that run the gamut.
Yeah, certainly. We have seen everything from, teenage girls involved with Girls Rock Indianapolis using the proof of concept space and recording demos for the first time, all the way to gentlemen that are retired and have an EP that they wrote 30 years ago and they just want to get it recorded and have this come full circle for them. We've seen every genre you could think of, even already in the proof of concept space, anything from rock and metal bands to hip hop MCs to even some sound bath practitioners have been in with their singing bowls, recording meditation.
Very neat. Hey, we just have a few seconds left, Kai, but you're in fundraising mode. You're getting close to a goal of $50,000. If you get there, you'll get a $50,000 match from the Indiana Community Development Authority. So you're close, right?
Absolutely. We've just got a few thousand left, and folks can head to indiemusiccoop.org, and that campaign runs through November 3rd.
Kai McGinnis, really interesting idea that could, I think, have some real impact as well, the Indianapolis Music Cooperative. Kai, thanks for joining us and good luck with the project.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
That wraps up this week's Inside Indiana Business television podcast. Remember, you can find all of this week's TV segments, as well as the top business news from throughout the state, at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. While you're there, you can also subscribe to our platform of free e-newsletters. This is Andy Ober for Inside Indiana Business.